So we have a question from a viewer who wants to talk about sports betting. This has been, something that's been kicking around in other states, and the question is, are we going to legalize it here? And there are all kinds of complicated pieces to this, and I think it's a question that we've had before. So let's begin. Let's begin with Senator Ingebrigtsen. What do you think? Sports betting. Anything happening in this session about that?
Well, quite frankly, I've never participated in that. I know there's an awful lot of excitement going on in the legislature with regards to that. However, I don't think the revenue tag or the revenue coming into the state of Minnesota is as large as people would think it is. However, we are seeing a lot of our folks go over to Wisconsin and the other bordering communities doing just that. And one would think that gambling and gambling addiction is certainly something that one should be concerned about. However, if they're going to be doing it anyway, I guess one way of not solving that problem, I guess we're not it's not that you can't fight the problem. The problem is that that those dollars are going someplace else and not staying here in Minnesota. So I'm a little undecided myself. I know my caucus is, I think overall, I would have to say in favor of it, as well as I think it's certainly a bipartisan thing. However, it remains to be seen, I guess, whether this happens. But it's certainly got some legs in the legislature this year. I can say that.
Representative Marquart, your thoughts? Sports betting.
Well, it's not a top priority for me. I just think we have a lot of other things to do. More important, we're still, like I said, helping people recover from COVID-19. As Representative Miller mentioned, people have been through a lot in the last 2 years, and let's take care of this first. And I haven't been privy to any discussions and so forth, but like Senator Ingebrigtsen says, I think there is some legs gaining on this, and it's probably something we're going to be dealing with this session, but right now, it's kind of out of mind, out of sight as far as I'm concerned. I just don't see right now where it improves the quality of life for the average, everyday person that I think we really have to have this session really trying to benefit.
Representative Miller, wolf season. What do you think? We're coming to the wolf season in a minute. Sports betting.
So sports betting. So I came in to office being very clear on my position of the expansion of betting. I'm not for it. I have been consistent with that since I've been in office, and I'll continue to be. This is no disregard to what people's interests are. I guess I'm but one vote on this. I haven't really pressed the issue hard, but when the vote comes, I don't support it. I don't think we need to have more ways to legally gamble. We have enough of those, and if you look. The way that I understand this law is we're trying to shore up something that could be protected against lawsuits. And I might be wrong with that, but that's the way I've understood it. You can already do the sports gambling in Minnesota. There's just some concerns about kind of firming that up a little bit. So no, I wouldn't support any expansion like that.
Senator Frentz, sports gambling.
I think I can support it, but not if it gets jammed down someone's throat. It would have to be part of a group effort where there's peace in the valley. There's concerns that we have in the same way we have concerns about legalizing recreational marijuana. There are points that have been made by my fellow legislators about some of the downside, and I see those. And I also agree that the revenue should not be the main focus. I mean, I think we want to have high quality of life. Finally, I think it's got momentum in some ways. And so my guess is as it becomes more common and more visible in other states, that will create pressure on the parties to reach a deal. And I'll be fine when that day comes. I have to agree with Representative Miller. I don't think that day is coming this session.